What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, and we are here to discuss 3 new-ish AI accounting tools that every accounting firm owner should at the very least be aware of, if not leveraging to the fullest. And just to cut to the chase, this is not another ChatGPT walkthrough for the millionth time. Sure, some of these platforms likely are using OpenAI's language model to facilitate some of it. And I'm going to start with kind of a meta tool that recently came onto my radar that I am now just like utterly obsessed with. The first time you ran into the tool Zapier, you probably thought that the whole world just opened up to me when I saw Zapier for the first time. I was like, wow, you mean to tell me I can get a software over here to communicate with the software over here? There's no longer like these island softwares. You can kind of like interconnect them and weave them together and share information and trigger something over here based on an action from over here. So I can pick the best in class tool and get them all to work together. Now that premise was very enticing until you realize what happens when you pick best in class instead of getting a best all-in-one tool. So I've shifted my perspective on that over the years, because best-in-class tool, when it breaks, or when it changes how it works, and now you have to go back and fix all your automations, really frustrating, really annoying. One of the tools that I have come across that has caused me to feel that way for 2 reasons, and I'll explain both, is known as N8N. I prefer to call it Nathan, although apparently Nathan is the way that it's meant to be called. I don't know why both of these companies have ambiguously named or pronounced brands. Maybe I should rename Dream Firm to something more complicated. But anyway, in any case, Nathan, and I'm going to just share my screen here, and we're going to jump into this particular tool right now. So again, while Zapier can do AI automations, right? For whatever reason, every single person is talking about Nathan now that I have come across. And so the same way that Zapier was kind of like this groundbreaking pioneer for integrating softwares between each other, that's what Nathan does now in terms of integrating AIs between one another now. And of course, it can obviously still talk to other softwares. And I don't want to downplay what Zapier can do. Obviously, they're not lagging behind. But I started playing around with this recently. And man, not only is it just shockingly intuitive and relatively easy to learn, despite feeling a little technical at first, the one thing that I want to just like point out to you guys as it relates to Nathan, well, there's a bunch of things. You can, of course, take a look specifically at their template library, which I'm just going to find really quick here, because I know that they've got a bunch of templates. And so you can take a look at kind of the way the templates have been built. And so one of the cooler things about when you do stuff like this is if you can just type in something like tax, and you're just like, well, how many tax-related AI workflows are there? 7, guys, and most of them are taxi booking. Okay, so before people are saying like, oh, AI is coming for you, just know that like literally no one is building tax-specific workflows in this, despite there being over 3,000 workflows. Like less than 2 of them are actually related to helping with tax work. But I digress. The reason I thought this was such an interesting, and I'll just go ahead and open up like a random sort of template here just so everyone can take a look at it. Let's go with chat with a database using AI. And so when you open this up, it's going to give you the entire sort of walkthrough of how it works. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now because I'm on a different computer and I'm not logged into my account. But what you can do is go through the tutorial. And so the reason that this was mind-blowing for me was not just because great templates, obviously having AI agents talk to each other. I was like, oh my goodness, that means you can have something over here that's being generated in terms of like let's just say it's like the scripts, and then you can take the scripts and you can bring it over to the AI voice assistant, and then it can read the scripts, and then it can interact with the database to then make calls. What? Like that's crazy. So anyway, it opens up a ton of possibilities from just like you are limited by your imagination in terms of what does what well, and how do you integrate it with something else so that they can create a fundamentally new result when you combine them together. And again, it's wild. However, what was the groundbreaker for me on this? Like when I started to use it, like most of you, I'm not a developer. Okay, I really have no development skills at all, just to be blunt. Um, and so when you start with something like this, that is intimidating. However, every time I got stuck, it would give me an error code. Okay, and I was just doing the basic tutorial walkthrough. I encourage everyone to try it out. And when I got stuck, I would just take the error message and I would put it in the chat. And the chat was powered by AI. And I kid you not, every single time the chat bot was able to tell me exactly what I needed to do. 100%. Like, it was faster than talking to a support rep. It was the fastest form of support I've ever had, the most accurate form of support I've ever had. And so if you're just like on the fence, like, do I need an AI chatbot for support? Uh, go through this, not just for the fact that I believe this is the next frontier of efficiency, definitively is, but specifically because you should have that experience too. That will make you be like, if we don't have a chat bot by the end of this week, we are behind. And I'm telling you, you likely are. Okay. So I'm going to bring up two other tools while we're at it. So I have two different tools open right here. Well, unfortunately, Canva Premium is signed in on my other computer, but Canva Premium does give you a little bit of AI video image generation. It's fun to play around with. But one of the things that I want to also point out here very quickly is if you are paying for cloud services from Google, like if you're on Google Work Suite, you likely have access to premium AI subscriptions and you don't even realize it. I didn't even know this. And I know quite a bit about like technology, and like I try and pay attention to like what we get so we can maximize it. My buddy was talking about Google Gemini. I got this crazy new video image editor. Da, 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 da. It can make 8-second long videos from scratch, or it can use your images and then cater them to a to do whatever it is that you would like. And so, like, oh, that's interesting. I should try it out. And he's like, dude, you can use it. I thought you had to pay for it. I'm like, I didn't pay for it. And then I looked it up, and it's because it's included when you pay for the business plan. So anyone who's not using Google Suite, I don't know what you're doing. But if you are using it and you're not using this, I don't know what you're doing. Because again, it's similar to me. Like, I don't know. What was I doing? How did I not know about this? So don't be afraid to check like what you already have included in your AI subscriptions. Canva Premium, awesome AI. This, awesome. So oftentimes you're going and searching for new things, and there's literally a treasure trove of AI activity or AI access right under your nose for the stuff you're already paying for. And so very simply, all I did here, and this was earlier today, is I just said, hey, animate this image of me that's cropped, saying, welcome to the 100K challenge. Let's get started. By the way, awesome product that we're launching in about a month from now. Pay attention to that. And so this is the result. So little bit strange. I understand that, but what is the use case of this for you and your firm? Well, one, if you are afraid to produce video content, you kind of don't really have much of an excuse anymore, because you could make an AI avatar to explain concepts for you. There is of course, a limit on the length of the video, so you're kind of left with like short phrases, or you'd have to merge several clips together, which goes back to the point I was making earlier, which is use this automation to generate multiple clips and then bring that into another tool that brings them together and creates a story from it. Anyhow, this is again just a good example of this was not even possible like a few months ago, and now it's pretty good, and it's going to be even better. And so the more experience you get with any of these things, the further ahead you are than basically everybody else. And we want all of our clients to be on the cutting edge. So this lets you get involved with video marketing much faster. If you're doing any form of paid advertising, you can refresh your creatives like crazy fast. I bet everyone here has seen some version of AI video marketing. Like, it is all over my feeds right now. It is literally like 80% of all the ads I see are clearly AI. They're not bad ads. I can tell they're AI, but they're still pretty compelling ads. So long story short, this opens up creative potential like in an absolutely crazy way. And if you want to blow somebody's mind who's over the age of like 70, just show, just literally like taking video of them with their permission and be like, hey, I'm going to upload this in here. I want to show you something cool. And then all of a sudden they're going to see them talking about something that they never talked about before. And they're going to be like, this is possible. And now it's going to make them question literally everything they've seen on the news for the last decade. Okay, next one. This one I love because most problems in accounting firms are typically not related to video asset generation. Okay, like let's be real. That's not something most firms are like, Tyler, I need to generate more video assets. I just show because I think it's cool. And I think it's the type of problem that you to solve right now. Eventually you will need to solve for it and you'll want to do it in a cool way. Okay, so it's just probably in the future. But most firms coming right up against their face is training employees, up-leveling talent, getting people smarter faster. And this is usually a very hard thing to do. Like, how do you get people to be more effective at learning the ins and outs of your business, the clients that you have, the tax code, the way you manage your CRM, the way you approach bookkeeping, right? Like there's all of these sort of nuances to how you run your firm compared to the way they were trained at another firm, compared to the way that they learned in college, compared to whatever the historical stuff is. Some of it may have relevance, but most of what they need to know is specific to the way you do things. And so if you haven't been if you've been actively trying to help people to learn how to help you in your business, if you've actively been training, providing resources, recording training calls, right? Like if you have a set of resources that you have developed, you can basically aggregate them inside of NotebookLM by Google. Again, if you have the Google Suite, essentially you get the pro version for free, which is, again, ridiculous. It's just included. And then you can just, if you use Google Drive, which you probably do if you use Google Suite, you can just plug the Google Drive into this thing and it will develop all of these like quick hit must have resources to quickly onboard people, understand your culture, understand their role, understand the way your leads flow, understand your sales process, understand your clients' personas, like anything that you've developed to help your team be smarter and more efficient, you can bring into this and basically create the ultimate efficiency guide. Like it's wild. You can create study guides, you can create timelines, you can create FAQs, you can mix, you can add and subtract different resources from it so that you make it more specific to bookkeeping. You don't want the bookkeepers to be worried about tax. Whatever the case may be, you have a tremendous amount of control over the resources that can develop based on the material that it has. Now, I want to just highlight one quick point here. Remember when I was on Nathan, as I like to call it, when I was on Nathan and I was like, hey, wait a minute, isn't it so crazy that there's like no like tax related workflows? Like, isn't that crazy? And 5 of these are for taxi companies. And so the other part of this is like, well, what about like accounting, right? Or what about pay two? Two? What about like payroll, right? Like what about these things? One, and it probably doesn't even do anything, like that. This definitely is QuickBooks even like listed on here? Like how many things even include QuickBooks? Three. So there's an enormous frontier that is open right now, totally wide open. That may or may not be filled by dream firms very quickly. That basically says no one is attempting to build meaningful AI automations that talk to one another. But what does this have to do with this? Well, similarly, if you look up ChatGPT, and I'm not sure if I'm logged in or not, but I can log in very quickly. But I thought this was very interesting. So let me show you something really cool here. Okay. Library. Where's the GPTs at? GPTs. Cool. All right. So under GPTs, similarly, if I'm like, what do the tax GPTs look like? Now, this is going to be, of course, more popular because there's way more users on GPT than there are on Nathan. And you can see, okay, there's a few here. Some of them, allegedly have 25,000, 5,000 tax expert GPT, right? you should consider testing these out, trying them out, validating them. But here's the real point is that remember what I said about the AI chatbot when I went through the experience the first time I used Nathan and it blew my mind? I want you to imagine that you have all of your source documents, okay? All of the things that make your firm special, okay? Not only do you have that, you take the time to maybe upload things into your Google LLM, your Notebook LM, and all of that is your tax code, or all of that is all of the QuickBooks documentation on how to use QuickBooks online. And so, what did you just effectively do? You trained your chatbot on the US tax code, the way that you run your firm, and how you handle QuickBooks. You have this enormous data set that not only can you use to make your team smarter, faster, access the right information quicker, create various resources to help people to do different things, right? Like all of these different things, you also now have that resource applied to a client or prospect facing service that helps them to not need to bother you. Okay, to help to not need to bother you. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen really quickly here. I cannot possibly underemphasize, how important it is that you get really good at aggregating data sets that train AI to have conversations on your behalf. I can't remember the study off the top of my head. I'll do my best to link it. But there was a firm that invested in AI chatbots and cut down customer inquiries, not inquiries, cut down time required to respond to clients by 60%. In other words, 60% of all the communication that they needed to have with their clients didn't need to happen with a person. So I want you to just imagine very quickly, your clients get the right response much faster, and it doesn't need to bother you. They don't need to bother you at all. Like we should all be sprinting to this. Like there should be a mad dash for us to get to that. Because what would you do with 60% less unnecessary client interactions? Because the 40%, of course, there's going to be things it can't answer, shouldn't answer, it needs to be reviewed by you before it's considered a legitimate answer. And obviously, we don't want to necessarily take away from high value interactions with clients, but we also don't want to increase low value, high time requirement frustrations of how do I log into my QuickBooks account again? Do I need to send you my bank statements? You know, okay, like the things that you make you want to like rip your hair out because it's like, why do we even need to discuss this? And the thing is, this is the thing. You don't need to discuss it. The discussion needs to be had, just not with you. It just needs to be handled the right way and a smart way. And so if you like these ideas and you like the idea of executing them in a high quality way, I made a bunch of investments specifically into AI training for our team, for me specifically. Very excited to roll that out for our clients. We started to tease a few things. We got a few cool things that we've already put in place. But anyway, if that sounds like something that's interesting to you and you want to stay on the cutting edge with dream firms, links will be floating all about the place to be able to engage with us. Thank you so much for your most precious resource. Remember, you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your workday, and please make sure to play around with Nathan, Google Notebook, LM Notebook by Google, as well as potentially Google Gemini and or the Canva AI that's built in. Usually, if you have a premium subscription to basically any software now, they're going to include some form of AI with it, and you should absolutely be working to not try to master AI like you're a 25-year-old kid on YouTube. But you should be working on looking at how you infuse AI into your existing workflows, because I believe that's where we're currently at with this technology. It's not here to replace, it is here to enhance. And I hope these tools will help you enhance your firm in one way, shape, or form or another. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys inside the Dream Firms Network.